This is the fourth battle in the Total War Center team tournament. A 2 versus 2 tournament entirely using Pre-Marian Roman units. And here are the Brutii commanded by myself, Cluny the Scourge, and my ally Selifator on the right. We will be facing off against the Scipii commanded by Emotion Name, aka Confused Johnny, and made in the UK. Now, we Brutii have adapted from our last battle against the Senate, in which we were defeated, by imitating the Senate's force, except to take it even further. We've taken an army composed entirely of cavalry and archers, without any infantry units. And, as it happens, the Scipii, who were also defeated by the Senate, have done much the same thing. And indeed, this was the only battle in the team tournament which involved two armies of much the same composition. The Brutii have 20 units of archers to the Scipii's 19, 11 units of cavalry auxilia, 6 equites and 1 Roman general, versus the Scipii's 16 equites. The Scipii have also taken 3 units of triarii which they deploy as guards for their archers. And indeed we've even deployed similarly. A skirmishing screen of archers in front, with cavalry behind, poised to strike at any cavalry who attack our archer screen. Now what you see here is that the Scipii are remaining stationary and letting us take the first moves, and what we are doing is shifting our entire army to our right, so that I will face Made in the UK on the Scipii left, and Selifator will face empty space on the extreme right. And what we are doing is seizing the initiative, moving our entire force forward, and our intention is, instead of waiting for the enemy to strike at our archers or trying to tease them into doing so, we're going to concentrate all of our cavalry in one glorious rush to overwhelm Made in the UK's cavalry, and then move on to Johnny's, and in this way we will destroy the enemy in detail. This is made possible by our recognizing that the enemy have simply been remaining stationary while we've redeployed, and so an opportunity presents itself for us to capitalize upon this passivity. The Scipii move too slowly, and thus, as you see here, Selifator is sending his cavalry sweeping around the enemy flank. My cavalry are rushing to join him, while the Scipii cavalry of Made in the UK here will be hopelessly outnumbered. Worse still, his cavalry will be caught on the hoof, while our cavalry hits them at the charge, gaining the full charge value from their attack, as you can see here. They will be quickly routed. You can see my Roman general plowing into the mess there. Here is Selifator's flanking units, and the first rout is achieved. Now here you can see that Johnny has countered by trying to reach my archers with his cavalry, or some of it, since he's been compelled to send the bulk of his horsemen to the aid of the main battle over on his far left. Consequently, I've been able to intercept and destroy those units that he sent against me using a couple of reserve cavalry, and here you see an intense melee unfolding, but the Scipii, having sacrificed the initiative, are again and again encircled, surrounded and overwhelmed. They send a few of our units packing, but the great bulk of their cavalry is now smashed. We now turn our attention to the enemy archers and to ensuring that his regrouping cavalry do not rejoin the battle, as you see here. However, the battle did not end quite as quickly as it could have, due to a serious blunder on my part over here. As you can see, in my attempt to reach the enemy archers, I've inadvertently driven my own cavalry into the triarii units that Johnny was using as guards. and I've suffered quite extensively because of that. I'm desperately trying to make them retreat, and they just won't at that point. So here I'm bringing my archers forward into a wide screen to engage with and destroy the enemy's triarii and other archers. They're all on skirmish mode, of course, so we can't possibly catch them there with that unit of triarii. Here you see my cavalry really taking a beating for their foolish mistake in running right into the enemy triarii. And now Johnny is fencing them in, and he's going to utterly destroy them. It makes me wonder what would have happened if one or the other army had chosen entirely cavalry, since we only actually need archers to destroy enemy infantry if they've taken a heavy infantry force. So if, say, the Scipii had somehow guessed what kind of army we were going to take, and had brought all equites, what exactly would we have been able to do? Perhaps deploy our army in the woodland, which would have given us cover from enemy cavalry, and shot out at them as best we could to sting them into charging us. Though we would have had to have been bloody-mindedly patient. Here we go back to the archery line, dueling with the Scipii archers. Selifator's cavalry is on the far side of the battlefield and has yet to be brought back. However, if equites have anything to recommend them, it is that they are quick and they have pretty good stamina, so their speed isn't going to be worn down by fatigue. And here we see Johnny redeploying his triarii guards in anticipation of that very move by Selifator. If the Scipii archers are going to be able to do their job, and I'm not sure that they really could, since they're up against pretty much the same number of Brutii archers, then they're going to need that protection. Johnny realizes the situation and sends his archers racing closer. Here are some of my regrouped cavalry. Now watch as I completely fail to make adequate use of them. They've been broken once already and regrouped, which means their morale is very frail, and I send them out by themselves, one by one, to be overwhelmed by the concerned by number of enemy morale effect into the midst of a mass of enemy archers. They had absolutely no chance of reaching those archers, none whatsoever. Fortunately, Selifator makes good my mistake pretty soon, and when Brutii wrath does descend, it descends with the force of a magistrate's fasces, breaking a miscreant's bones. You see, I and Selifator have switched to flame arrows to try to induce panic from fire attack. And here it comes, the ride of the Valkyries, driving all before it. I wonder what it must feel like to be a cavalryman and to have a broken enemy before you, helpless, vulnerable, and very foot-bound, while you have a long spear, sticking it in between their shoulder blades, one fool after another. It must be like being God. This battle is effectively wrapped up now. So, what are the lessons that we actually took from this tournament as a whole anyway? There are another 3 battles, by the way. But I would say that the final lessons we learned from this tournament are that when 2 Pre-Marian Roman armies confront one another, the key to their effectiveness lies in a combination of cavalry and archers, with infantry used only as guards for the archers, if at all. And that is pretty much exactly the opposite of how Roman armies from this period actually fought. Were they wrong, or is the game?